Hello and welcome. My name is Errity Green, and this is Wise Women Oracle and Tarot. And today I am bringing you a pick a card reading on the path or the opportunity before you. So this is inspired by sort of the next thing that's unrolling or unfolding for you, or perhaps you are at a crossroads or there's an opportunity in your periphery or right in front of you. And we are going to be talking about that to support your moving forward or not. So the path or opportunity before you. I first want to invite you to like, subscribe, and become a part of this community. I'd love to have you here. If you want to get to know more about me and my work, I am enrolling right now for the Professional Spiritual Mentor Certification at the Spiritual Mentorship Academy. You can check out those details below or visit erritygreen.com/the academy. I do also have two other YouTube channels, Psychic True Crime and Wise Women Television, both of which are linked below. So without further delay, I will place a picture up of your 4 card piles to choose from today. As always, you are choosing from left to right. All right, so card pile 1, the path or the opportunity before you. So it's almost feeling like you have been in a space of sort of being in the underworld, maybe growing some roots, just gaining spiritual wisdom, gaining awareness about yourself. It's when we go to those deeper layers of ourself and our psyche, and we're able to truly connect with what's real, what's not, conditioned not, wounded not. It can also be like that experience of the hermit and the tarot, if you're familiar with that. A dark night of the soul, where we really go within and we are introspective. And ultimately what we are gaining is spiritual understanding, spiritual wisdom, spiritual truth. We are gaining awareness of our deep inner workings and our recesses, our psyche, and ultimately the inner workings of all. It's a profound awareness to sort of go in and do the deeper work and become aware of sort of your operating program as well as other people's operating programs. And then once you come out of that, it's almost like you come out anew. And that's what I'm feeling like is you were in a phase of this deeper exploration, this deeper introspection, this deeper reflection, inner work, ultimately coming out with greater wisdom and understanding than you came in with, than you came into that experience or phase or season of your life with. And then you're coming out of that ready and available and able to start anew. So it doesn't feel like brand new. Excuse me, I am still recovering from a cough still. But I feel like you come out and you start laying the bricks of the next chapter of your life, laying the bricks of the next foundation of your life. So it's not like a total rebirth where it's like, it doesn't have the energy of like starting from scratch or clean slate, but it's like, okay, now I'm ready to build, I'm ready to do, I know what I want, I'm ready to experience this or that or whatever. And you start laying the bricks of that foundation. Now the message here for this part of your life, and we still have plenty more to go for this reading, but one of the primary messages here is to enjoy this, let it be playful, let it be fun, let it be easy. You don't have to take it so seriously. And I think that message comes because when we opened saying you were in this deep space of introspection and reflection and deep inner work or the dark night of the soul, we can get into a place that can feel heavy or dark or really deep. And it's sort of like when we go out into the water, the ocean, we'll say, to play, or to swim, it's like we can only stick around in the bottom depths for so long. We have to come up for air. We got to swim. We got to come to the surface. We got to play, be more like dolphins instead of those deep, big-bellied whales. It's like we can be all the things, and you've kind of done the deep, big-bellied whale thing for a while. And now remember to come up to the surface and frolic and play and enjoy this. Like, let this foundation building be something that's more enjoyable for you, something that you can savor, something that you can appreciate, something that you can have fun with. This does not need to be like dogged, determined, tireless, hard work. Are you still laying bricks? Yes, but that's the difference between someone who lays bricks, let's just say they're doing that for real, for a living, and they're literally hating it and like thinking about when they get to go home and when do I have my next drink and can't wait for the weekend and, that kind of mindset versus someone who's cracking jokes and making fun and enjoying themselves and talking trash and all the things, kind of fun human whatever things that we do, who's laying bricks, right? They're both laying bricks, but one is experiencing a totally different mindset than the other. So it's giving yourself permission to play and enjoy this foundation building, as opposed to making it something heavy or tiresome or worrisome. I feel like that's a shift too that wants to come out for you. And actually, as we move into the next cards, I'm seeing something similar. So let's see what else we have here for you. Yeah, so things are shifting. The wheel of fortune is turning. You're coming out of an old chapter, an old phase, an old season of your life. Some things we already talked about. Sometimes the cards continue to speak to the same message. And I just feel like, the wheels have turned. This is like the wheel of fortune in the tarot, where you are moving on into the next chapter. It doesn't feel like you're totally there yet. It feels like you're coming out of it. It feels like you're sort of crawling out, coming out, Groundhog Day kind of thing. I don't feel you going back in like Groundhog Day, but sort of just peeping over and like moving along, a little baby steps, moving along the way here. And that there was another message here that was lingering for you. What was it? Give me a second. The original message did not come back. Again, they come in and they leave, and if I don't capture them, they gone most of the time. All of that to say, so you're coming out of this, the wheel of fortune has turned, you're shifting out, you're taking baby steps toward this new foundation, you're laying those bricks. And I feel like what's coming through here is one of the reasons this shift in your world happened, this deep introspection, this deep work, whatever, was to really get clear on what it was you actually wanted, and to have more clarity around that and have more truth around that. And it feels like through that experience, you were meant to actually like sort of question your life. Reevaluate your life, your choices, yourself, and ask, is this what I really want? If not, what do I want? And it's just that clarity of gaining the awareness around what you want, what you don't want. But there's like this evaluation piece of it. It was like taking that step back to really look at your life, see what you've grown, built, developed, whatever, and ask yourself, well, is this what I ultimately really want? And I feel like the next chapter or phase of your life, this path before you, this opportunity, is to really get crystal clear on that if you're not already, and then live by that, live true to that. You might be someone who has identified your values in the past as an example. If you're not, I would suggest that. If it is sort of kind of coming through, it's like a peripheral kind of lingering message that might be relevant for some of you to really 100% get clear on your values, even if you're not sure on exactly what the desire is, and live true to that in an uncompromising way, not being willing to settle for less. There is something here about getting clear about what you want, asking yourself, is this what I really want? And then recognizing where you still might be holding yourself back. I don't want you to go back into inner work, into reflection. We're not going back into the hole like the groundhog to, go to town on all this for another century. This is more about two things. Being aware that anytime we hold ourselves back, it's ourselves holding ourselves back, but even clearer, more deeply, deeper. Anyway, you went into this introspection phase, that deep, dark underworld phase for a while, where you were looking at yourself and evaluating, like we said, and it was so you could see all the ways you're holding yourself back. It was so you could see the ways in which you do not allow yourself to move forward. You don't give yourself permission to move forward. It's like when we feel like our hands are tied, but we're the ones who tied our hands. So like the devil card in the tarot, if you're familiar with that, where you see the picture and the people aren't actually sort of kidnapped or held hostage. They have the key to the handcuffs. They can leave the devil behind, but they choose to stay, and they believe, it's a mindset. They believe that they're stuck there when in truth they are not. That's just what they are telling themselves, but ultimately they can free themselves at any minute. And when they recognize that freedom, they have the choice to go. And sometimes people recognize the freedom and they still don't go. So, right, that's part of what you were meant to realize during this time. All the ways that you hold yourself back, or don't believe in yourself, or don't believe you're capable of it, or believe that you can't have it or won't have it, or that you're an outsider or you're not worthy, or whatever your particular flavor or texture of that was, it was seeing all the ways in which you hold yourself back. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you went through this. We keep getting the same recurrent message for you, card pile 1. But the news is you're coming out of that, and I think that's what wants to come through here too. Now, we do get more of a subconscious vibe as we enter the final part of this reading. So that could mean that some of you are still very sort of deep in this. And it doesn't mean that that's a problem, because, again, it's about gaining that clarity. It's about reevaluating yourself and your life and your choices and decisions. And it's about coming clean with yourself and being honest about where and how you hold yourself back, so you can begin to sort of give yourself that key. Recognize you have the key, but then give yourself the key to free yourself. So you're doing this deep inner work, and I feel like you're becoming sort of like a king or queen of the subconscious. It's like there was something here, a mastery that was important in you, so that you could move forward with more awareness, with more, so it feels like solidity. It could be wholeness, but it feels like solidity. I can't describe or understand completely why that is, because it's almost like, because you know yourself well, you can move forward in fuller truth, right? There is a deep sort of psychology to this, where you sort of become queen or master or king of your underworld. And so it's almost like nothing can stop you at this point except yourself, because you get how it all works. You understand how it all operates. You understand how this leads to that, and that leads to this. And you can see how people's conditioning creates this or that, or trauma creates manifestations in this or that ways, or whatever. There was something for you to develop in terms of the understanding of your inner world, of your subconscious, of your own psyche, of the human psyche, to become master of this underworld, so you can move forward with more swiftness, strength, fortitude, determination, endurance, conviction. There's something else there too, and I'm hoping it comes up. But ultimately, this is about, once you become master at this and you feel like you've mastered this, that's when you move on. That's when you step out, you start laying the foundation for your next chapter, the path before you, the opportunity before you, because now you know what you want. Now you know the ways in which you hold yourself back, and now you can give yourself the key, the freedom, or the permission to choose and to let yourself move forward. That's the alchemy, the transformation. If you've been curious as to why or what is happening or whatever for you, maybe over a period of a couple years, for some of you maybe more, some of you maybe less, but it's about an average. You might have been wondering why, imploring and just like, what is going on, and who am I anymore? It was all about this, becoming that master of your underworld, gaining more clarity around yourself and your own psyche and the ways in which you hold yourself back, and then giving yourself permission to leave, number one, because again, some of you might still be here, and I didn't feel that in the very beginning of the reading, but now that we're here, I do feel some of you might still be there, and you're ultimately being shown or told, once you feel, which is a personal thing, no one else can do it for you, no one else can tell you when you're done, when you feel like you've mastered this, and you've become like sort of a master of your underworld, of your psyche, that's when you move forward. I really want to ask for you guys, what mastery are you seeking? Like, I want to be specific on this. Give me a minute. Okay, so for many of you, this is going to resonate. Perhaps not for all of you, because it is more specific. You'll have to let me know in the comments if this does or does not resonate. But primarily for many of you, or if not most of you, because most of you feels relevant when I say it, number one, the mastery is you leaving it. Like knowing how long to stay and when to go. And that's what's interesting, is the mastery isn't, oh, I'm going to hang out down here and sort of become the king or queen of my own demons, which is a great thing, because it's you taking your power back. But it's like the actual shift is you then leaving it behind and recognizing when it's time to go. So that's a part of it. It's like once getting that mastery, now knowing when to leave. It's also about self-love and growing in self-love and just becoming aware of the inner workings and parts of yourself. Maybe there's no specific end result, except that somehow this work helped you become more aware of yourself, brought about more compassion and reconciliation and connection with yourself, perhaps emotional reconnection or somatic reconnection, or a connection with just who you are really underneath it all. And I feel like it's bringing in the opportunity for, again, that greater self-love and ultimately love of all forms. So whether that's material wealth, whether that's community, friendship, social network, romantic partnership, romantic love, it's made you more available for love. What else here? Yeah, and what is mastery? It's now seeing where you hold yourself back, so you know better as to when to leap, or free yourself, right? So it's like, now that you have this awareness, now you're able to consciously gauge when you're holding yourself to the devil, like in the devil card in the tarot, like we talked about earlier, and and when to let go. So it's like now you know the inner workings of your psyche. So when you know when you're holding yourself back, and you know when you can make a choice to leave it behind, right? Once we have that awareness, we're able to make better choices in the future. So there's something here about getting to know the way that you sabotage yourself, the way that you, again, don't allow yourself certain love or abundance or whatever, the ways you hold yourself back. It was important to recognize those pieces so in the future, you're able to see it for what it is and not let it hold you back any longer. So for many of you, that's going to be the mastery that you found. It could even be more specific. I want it to be more specific, but I'm going to have to let that be. And so all in all, the path before you is an opportunity out of the underworld into greater freedom and liberation, greater self-love, and into a new chapter that is more aligned with who you actually really are and what you truly, really want. And now you're going to have the awareness to be able to move forward on it and actually do the thing and show up and put your money where your mouth is and all the things, because you're going to see when you're stuck and be able to recognize it's you who's holding the key, and you can free yourself at any moment, anytime, right? So the point of sort of learning the shadow or the psyche or the underworld isn't necessarily just to remain there and remain a master of that dwelling. It's to know when to stay, but also know now when to leave. And then you get to go out into the world with that deeper awareness. So card pile 1, I do look forward to hearing from you. Do like, subscribe, press the bell icon. That way you receive notifications. I am enrolling right now for the Professional Spiritual Mentorship certification, where you can become a professional spiritual mentor. It's a year-long apprenticeship and curriculum with me. You can check out those details below or at erritygreen.com/theacademy. I do have 2 other YouTube channels, Psychic True Crime and Wise Women Television, both of which are down below. Thank you, card pile 1. All right, card pile 2, the path or the opportunity before you. This is such a sweet pile. I love this pile. It feels so innocent and sweet, and it feels like the energy of the child or the inner child. Feels so good. So basically, I feel like you are sort of yearning for more magic, more excitement, more beauty in this world, magic, enchantment, that sort of natural innocence and joy and exuberance that we experience as a child. I feel like you are yearning for something more, maybe more meaning to life, more magic to life, more excitement to life. For some reason, perhaps that's been gone. I feel like for some of you, perhaps through an experience or a series of experiences, that you lost that quote unquote innocence, that it's been now hard to contact because of some challenges, and because of some things that you had to move through. Perhaps your light went out and now you don't know how to find it again. That's not going to be the case for all of you, but I do feel that for at least a good 20%, 10%, 40%. It's not telling me exactly how many, but a good healthy chunk of you are going to really connect to that, where you're longing for that again, for that magic, and wondering where it went and how you get it back. And of course, as we know, it's always within us. And so that's the path before you, is unfolding this magic again, letting life be easier, letting it be more fancy free. It is sort of embodying the energy of the Fool and the Tarot, where you are more carefree. It has sort of like, right, that gypsy or hippie energy or vibe, where not a care in the world, and innocent, wild, free, but there feels like magic here. It feels like a secret garden. It feels like, excuse me, I still have a cough, excuse me. Sort of children like fluttering about in a garden and just hee, and such sweetness. Gosh, it feels so good. And I feel like you're longing for that. Like your inner child is longing for that. Like there's a part of you that so wants the magic of life to return and wants it to come back. And I feel like it's a part of you, for some of you, especially for those who went through those experiences or that experience like I shared, I feel like you're almost scared to invite the magic of life in again because you're scared of losing it. And so it's better, in your mind, for a part of you, for your protector part, to keep it just out of arm's reach, to keep it at bay, to keep it just so. It's better to keep it out there than in here, because if I have that and I have to lose it again, can you imagine the devastation and the agony and the anguish? So it's almost better to just not have it and to be numb, dull, and deadened, than to invite that kind of energy in, because it's almost like you put yourself in a position to have to lose again, and it feels vulnerable. And so, but of course, this whole pile is about vulnerability, right? It's about that inner child. It's about innocence. And so, it makes sense that we're now finding that vulnerability here. And, oh, well, if I allow that kind of magic in, what if I lose? And of course, the logic or the rationality in it is, well, then you never get to experience it at all. So what, it's better to have loved and lost than not loved at all. Well, that's great rationality, but how does it actually touch and contact the heart and allow us to experience that joy and that aliveness and that excitement again? Let's see here. I feel like you want more from life. You want more, and maybe you don't understand or know yet how it's done. You don't know the practical path or the logical path or how it actually unfolds to bring about what you actually want. So it's like, I want more magic. I want that in my life. I want to contact that. I am ready, and I don't know how that's going to happen in my life. And it's almost saying that it almost feels sort of like magic is magical, I mean, duh. But it's like the energy of like, magic isn't easily discovered, uncovered, found, or revealed because it's magic. And so, yes, it can seem a little bit sort of undercover or like enigmatic, where it's like no matter where you look, then it's gone. It's like those cups where they put something under the cup and move all the cups around. It's like, well, wait a second, I swore it was under this cup, and then you look and it's not under that cup, right? It's like you go seeking it, you can't find it. And that's because it is kind of found in those hidden places, and it happens naturally and organically. It's not something that we can force. And so there might be an exploration here for some of you around gardens or children, kind of energy of delight, but perhaps even looking into how those things or experiences occurred for you as a child. What did delight you as a child? How might you introduce you or reintroduce yourself to those experiences again, and invite those simple, essential, quality experiences into your life, like literally chasing fireflies. Like life can be that simple, letting life be that easy. And if you don't know how to do that yet, you might schedule in time in your week to just be a child or just let it be. That can be hard for those of us with history of trauma and or experiences that keep us hardwired for survival and the next thing and the next challenge. But perhaps it's something that's active, so it doesn't feel like you're just sitting there, maybe you're running around and you're looking for bugs, or maybe you have children or nieces or nephews or something like that, or neighbors and if you might even have children coming into your life, into your world, and inviting you into the secret magical place, enchanted place, and you're like, oh no, I can't, or not right now. But it's ultimately what you want the most, what your inner child wants the most. It wants to run around into the tree house and go looking for bugs and going, exploring through the woods and watching the river and all those things. Like it wants that. However, you can invite that into your life, bring that into your life, more fun, more joy, but especially like sort of foraging in the elements. Like it feels like that innocence of childhood, but I feel a lot of nature here too. I feel a lot of play. I feel a lot of, that energy. If you're familiar with Blippi online, anytime I watch Blippi, I'm always amazed because I'm like, he's 100% a child, and how he embodies that character. And I'm like, how does he do it? And then of course, I don't know how he does it. I can't speak for him, but I know when I'm fully in the moment and not at all, like it's good acting, right? Playing a role of a child, even if you don't know how to be your child or be your inner child, play the role. See how it feels to wear the hat, wear the hat on for size, be like an actor, and just see if you can get into that space and literally feel the feelings of a child, get the curiosity of a child, the whimsy of a child, and just start following those natural curiosities that are already there. It's just that we put on the adult hat sometimes, or the responsibility hat or the trauma hat or whatever. It can make things dull and difficult and hard. We sort of deaden those parts of us because we have to compute, do this, pay bills, whatever it is. I don't know what your experience, what your challenge is, but we can sort of deaden that mystery or magic or excitement, but it is alive and it is there. Now, there is something here about carving the time out and being relatively boundaried around this, and being clear and being firm and setting some limits. Like, no, this kind of energy, this kind of magic, this kind of experience is important to me, and it's not something that I'm willing to compromise on, So you might be someone who you're not messing around. Like, it's kind of, you're getting serious about being an inner child, owning your inner child. The irony, but it's like, it's important. This is scheduled into your day. Like, you will prioritize this. You do value this. Like, it's important enough for you to make sure it happens, and that you create the space or the container or whatever it is required to live this out, right? It is going to require you it feels like an energetic maintenance of some kind. It feels like it's going to be up to you as to experiencing this energy, and it's going to come from you and from within you. And whatever you need to do to sort of create some boundaries in your life, so you're not always like taking calls, answering emails, paying a bill, going online, checking with this person, checking with that person, going to the store, all those things. If, whatever you need to do to take care of all that, so that you can have, a container in your life to be able to hold this energy, that's going to be really key. It's going to be important for you. It's important. You're worth it. Let's see what else is here. So we're talking about the path before you, the opportunity before you is... There was a message here. I'm trying to gather it for you, because usually what happens is I lay out all the cards, kind of get a whiff of the overall energy, and even some messages. And if I don't dive into it right then and there, which I can't, the camera's not on, I forget it because it's not actually mine. It comes and it goes. So we'll see if the other energy comes back, but I feel like you're seeking for more abundance in life in general, in one form or another. And it comes from within you, and it comes through your own excitement in life. It comes through your own curiosity. It comes through your own experience of innocence and awe and reverence. It's like, without innocence, we can't experience gratitude. Without innocence, we can't experience joy. If we are jaded, or if we are bitter, or if we are, if we're maintaining that mindset of, life is hard and look what it's done to me and I don't know how to get out. And like, at the end of the day, if we're maintaining that mindset, even if it's valid or not, because of what we experienced in our past, we're the ones who are then perpetuating that and not availing ourselves to the energy that is there, which is joy, aliveness, excitement, magic. It's like magic is here for you. What is the path before you? More magic, more mystery, more fun, more curiosity, more abundance. It's like you might even be seeking for more abundance in your life, wondering what's missing, sort of trying to tap the nerve of your life to see what is it that's truly missing? What is it that makes me feel this way? Why haven't I... blah, 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 whatever your personal question is. And it has to do with this. This is the nerve that you're hitting. It has to do with this inner child, has to do with joy, has to do with magic, has to do with the excitement of life. What does excite you? What does make you happy? What does fill your heart? What does make you come alive with wonder? What does make you feel free, wild and free, right? Those are the kinds of things you want to fill your life with, as much or as best as you can. And whatever you need to do, however you need to carve that time out, whatever it is required in terms of boundaries or scheduling or structure or support or delegation or whatever, in order to make that happen, this is what wants to be realized. This is what wants to come through. And this is ultimately what it is that you seek. And if you're not taking it consciously and you chose this pile, then it's very much your inner child who's seeking this. And that part of you is relevant. And they're not there for no reason. And even if they're subconscious, unconscious at the moment, now they're not, because now you got the reading. And this is the trail to follow, the breadcrumbs all the way back to childhood innocence and magic and wonder. So card pile 2, if this reading lands and resonates for you, I encourage you to like, subscribe, do press the bell icon. That way you receive notifications every single time a new reading pops up. If you want to get to know more about me or check out the Spiritual Mentorship Academy, we are enrolling for the Professional Spiritual Mentor Certification Program. Do check out those details below or at erritygreen.com/the-academy. So without further delay, I will bid you farewell, and I will see you next time. Thank you, card pile 2. All right, card pile 3, the path or opportunity before you. All right, so I feel like you have, for whatever reason right now in your world, in your life, you're going through some kind of experience of trying to gain clarity or get an answer or direction for the next phase of your life. Maybe that's why you're here. You're like, oh, perfect, the path before you or the opportunity before you. Maybe this will give me some guidance. But ultimately, I feel like you've been going within and asking yourself, okay, what is it that I want? What decision, what choice should I make? Where is it that I'm meant to go? I feel like you're really doing some deep digging and excavating and really trying to get a clear direction or answer. It just feels like you're trying to gain clarity on something. Now, ironically or interestingly enough, it doesn't feel like it's like really intense, and it doesn't feel really heavy. It doesn't feel really dogged and confusing. It just feels like you're looking inside, you're looking within to really get clear on or gain definition and clarity and direction on where it is that you want to go. Now, here's what's interesting though, is right next to that we have a card that's asking you to trust your path. If you knew you would be supported, what would you do? So, as you all know, I very rarely read off the cards because I read intuitively. And then every once in a while, I do feel called to read something off. And so I feel like that is relevant. Is if you knew you would be supported, what would you do? So what would your answer be if you knew you would be supported? And that you could get that behind that. If you could fully believe that, fully have faith in that, embody that, and own that, and really get behind it and lean all the way in. Because sometimes we can make really risky decisions. Risky for lack of a better term or word, because I don't really love the way the connotation around something risky, that it's bad, because it's not. That's the only way we ever get out of our comfort zone or change or grow. And so risk is actually healthy and good, as long as we're in a position to or have the capacity to do it, to handle it, to manage it. But my point there was a point here. Give me a second to gather my thought. Right. It was about really getting behind our investment or our risk or whatever, because we can take a leap and be like, I don't know. And then we sort of go into survival mode, into a trauma response, and then we're unable to fully show up for that choice. It's like you want to be able to stand behind your choice. So trust your path. If you were supported, what would you do? And then be sure that you can hold your own and carry yourself through whatever choice that you make. That's important. I feel like there is some kind of journey that's coming to a close with this. There is some kind of completion or healing happening here. I feel like an old chapter is closing, and it was based in this response or this choice or this opportunity or this path. So there is something here, an opportunity. I don't like using test because I don't know if we're presented with tests necessarily, but I do think we are presented with opportunities and experiences or whatever. And when we choose the same old way we always did or did before, we are showing ourselves, God, Great Spirit, Cosmos, Universe, Higher Power, whatever you want to call it. We are showing, okay, we're in the same boat. We're still making the same choice. We're still in the same space, in the same pattern, in the same habit. It is what it is, right? That's okay. And that's normal. That's one place to be. Another opportunity or experience that can happen is when we are presented with a choice and we make a new one. And I don't mean just new at face value, because sometimes we make a new choice with the same old energy. So if we're making a new choice and we're still in that same old energy of like failure or lack of belief, or it's not going to happen for me, or I don't trust, I don't have any faith, it's going to still turn out like the other way. So it's a matter of, have we actually changed? Have we actually transformed? Can we actually put our money where our mouth is? Meaning, can we show up but also stand behind that choice? Can we show up and can we actually embody it in our energy? Are we just saying yes and acting like we've changed, hoping we've changed? And that's okay, because change is effing hard, and it doesn't have to be, even that's perception. But for the human, for the ego, for the inner child, for the wounded child, it can be hard because we are having to outgrow old cycles. We are supported by energy, astrologically, cosmically, spiritually, all of those wonderful things. So we are sort of nudged along by the wonderful. And it helps us to sort of reveal new things and clear out old layers and all that wonderful stuff. And so wherever you find yourself, that's perfect. But this is a matter of, feels sort of like a test. Like, has this person changed as much as they say they have? And do they have the energy to back it up? So have they actually changed, not just in face value, like I can choose to do blank, but I can actually feel trusting. I can actually feel faith. I can actually feel confident. I can actually have belief in myself. Like there's an actual energetic change to match the behavioral change. So I feel like that's what's coming through here. There is a cycle that's coming to completion. If you are ready, if you are choosing card pile 3, I'm going to put my money on it. I mean, I can't really put my money on it, but I would put my money on it. That if you are reading this pile, this is because you are stepping out of an old cycle, the old cycle that had you in a default pattern of some kind or a fear-based response. You might even look back to a time in your life where you made a similar choice or similar decision and you made a different choice. And if you didn't make a different choice and you've made this, it was a similar choice, your energy is different now. In some way, you're passing an exam, you're passing a test, and you're sort of showing up for yourself, proving yourself. Not that we ever have to prove ourselves, but, kind of showing that, yes, we in fact have changed. We can put our money where our mouth is. Our energy has changed too. We're not just doing this at face value. Like, sure, like for example, some people might say they are ready to leave their 9 to 5 and start a business. This is just a random example, ones that is relevant from my life, my clients, a lot of the work that I've done in the past. This isn't an example from the reading, but I do want to ground this a little bit with an example so you know what I'm talking about. Someone leaves their 9 to 5 and they take that risk, right? They take that leap and they're like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And I know I'm ready and I've talked myself through it. I'm going to do it, right? So they do it. Well, then once they do it though, they're collapsing in fear. Scarcity sets in. They're in fear every day. Because they're in fear every day and they can't handle the hyper arousal, they start moving into depression. And so then they can't even get out of bed because now they're depressed and they're in fear. And then it's reminding them and sort of pressing and poking on all of their triggers and hot buttons and all that from childhood and all of their traumas and wounding. And now you found someone who's very stuck. Do you see what I'm saying? That's different. So this person, quote unquote, did the right thing, right? They took the leap. They went after the dream. They said yes. The Fool and the Tarot, they went for it. And yet they didn't have the energy to back it up yet. And so they collapsed under that pressure. So that's different from choosing to leave the 9 to 5 and starting your own business, but being able to do it confidently, believing in the self. Maybe you've prepared things, you've set some traps. I mean, not really, but sometimes it's not just a matter of energy. Sometimes it's a matter of preparation. So this time you have cushion or a savings or a safety net. You don't have to have those things. I don't want people to feel like they have to have some kind of nest egg in order to do their thing or follow their dream. But I'm just saying that could be part of it. And let's just say this person now has the energy to back it up. They're confident. They know that they can face any sort of challenge that were to arise, that they still will feel fear probably and feel overwhelmed at different times, but they will be able to work through it, to properly navigate it, to resource themselves and get the support that they need to move through it. None of them, no parts left behind where it's like we're just kind of bull in a china shop moving through, which is what the first person did. And then it led to collapse because it was ultimately unsustainable. They didn't actually have the true energetic foundation to sustain that. And so now this person who's leaving their 9 to 5, going to their business, is sort of hand in hand with their inner child, with their wounded self, with their trauma, with their conditioning. They kind of know how they act under pressure and how they tend to respond. They know sort of what calms them, soothes them. They know what helps them find regulation. They have support in their corner. They know how they can navigate it. Do you see how it's totally different? So that something's coming to a close here, card pile 3, in terms of the path or the opportunity before you, is to make a choice in alignment with the next level of you. And it's going to be something different from the past. And if it is the same, at least in a similar choice in terms of form, it's going to feel different. The energy behind it is going to be different. That's what tells the universe you are actually ready and you are actually doing the dang thing this time. Okay, that's what's coming to a close, the old chapter, because now you're making a new choice that's in alignment with the next level you. Let's see what else is going on here. Yeah. Okay. So, you still might be encountering your demons. Okay. Maybe that's why you're here, is because you might be getting caught in a thought loop, a fear loop. Perhaps this decision has brought up some fear for you. Perhaps it's brought up old ugly parts and you're just like not sure what to do with it. Again, you might be losing footing, losing ground kind of thing, right? Again, we talked about the person who has dealt with their inner world and feels like they're well-resourced and supported and so on and so forth and is able to move forward and maintain the energy, versus the person who collapses under the pressure. So I think the difference here is you've made friends with the devil. So versus where before the devil was your destruction or demise, the devil was, I have hair in my eye. The devil was like your own inner devil, your own inner demons, basically temptation, fear, whatever was what led to your downfall. Now you've befriended the devil. You invited him over for a beer or a coffee or tea, whatever your drink of choice is. Basically, you're expecting that to be there. You're knowing that the devil's going to make his appearance. You know how to handle those fears. You know how to work through those doubts. You know how to do the inner work. You know how to support yourself through it. You know how to listen to yourself. Like you just know how to handle it. You know how to manage it. You know how to carry yourself through this time. So it's like someone who's never been to purgatory. which, I mean, who has? I don't know. But let's just say the mythical, fictional purgatory, maybe the real one, if it exists. Who knows? I'm sure it does in some dimension, right? But who's never been to purgatory, they're going to be really scared. They're going to be like, oh, I don't know. And I don't really, not exactly the place you want to go and hang out at. But let's just say someone's been to purgatory a million times. Ted Bundy, he's been there. And so he's just like, hey, old boss, what's up? You gonna let me in today again? So I'm just saying, it's like after a time, you befriend your demons, you know how they work, you know how they operate, you know how they show up, and you know how to work with them. They become less something fearful or to run from or to escape or avoid or a problem. And they become more of like, okay, how am I going to work with you? What am I going to do with this? You've befriended them. You don't take them too seriously, and they certainly don't throw you off course or thwart you. I feel like you're able to more so just move on and carry on. You continue moving to where you wanted to go. This is different though than, bull through a china shop, just sort of like stubborn or strong-willed or kind of strong arming your way through something. And leaving all parts of you behind. Some parts are terrified, some parts are scared, some parts are hiding a repressed fear and in a trauma response. No, that's totally different from, I've been here before. I know I got to take a left over there, and not too thrilled to pass that guy, but I've met him before, and I'm going to go up, have a chat, and maybe we'll sit down and kind of shoot the what for a while. And that's a saying in North American culture of you shoot the crap. And I'm just trying to not for this to not disappear into the YouTube recesses. So, and where you're just like, hey, I'm gonna hang out, and I know how to deal with this guy, and I'm gonna keep on going, right? That's a totally different energy than the first one, right? We're not strong arming our way through and ignoring all parts of ourselves where we're living in terror and paralysis. We've befriended ourselves, we've befriended our demons, we know how they operate, we know how we usually do, and we're making a different response. But you know what? They're welcome to stick around and hang out with us, right? We can all party and go on this together. Yes, this is the big transformation that was supposed to happen for you. This is the path right here. It's like ascending that. So you've transformed. There's a confidence here and really trusting yourself now, because you trust yourself to walk through the underworld, to walk through the valley of the shadow of death. You trust yourself to take that left-hand turn, like we just said in that example. You trust yourself to enter purgatory. No big deal. Like you have enough certainty, confidence, conviction within yourself. There's a transformation that has occurred where it's almost like a level of fearlessness and or a level of healthy competence or confidence within yourself, where it's like that you can navigate anything that you encounter, that you can overcome anything that you encounter, and that ain't nothing gonna stop you. It's something like that, right? It's a graduation of some kind that's occurred for you, and you're ascending this, right? So you're ascending this old pattern, this old karmic cycle. What once held you back, held you down, prevented you from moving forward, really brought you down to like deep layers of yourself, which could have felt heavy, dark, difficult, challenging, whatever. Those parts of yourself, you've graduated from that. You're able to step outside of that. You're able to see it clearly, and you know how to have a drink with the devil, and it doesn't faze you. I mean, that's some power. That's some serious personal power. There's something here about like the courage and the confidence to look it in the eye and for it not to faze you. Because ultimately all we're ever facing is our own emotions, right? About an experience. Yes, there's all this stuff happening on the outside, but ultimately what we're actually facing is ourselves. But you've befriended that. You can look the devil in the eye and you carry on. It's no big deal. And I feel like you've gained an extraordinary sense of personal power as a result of this. Now, some of you haven't been on the other side yet. You're crossing that bridge right now. And so you're getting this reading so you can recognize what test you're in. Okay. Are you going to default to old patterns, or do you have the energy behind you? Are you able to back it up and fully move forward as you truly wholly are? You have passed this test, or have you, or will you, right? It's going to be up to you. Can you put your money where your mouth is now? Have you gone through enough, walked purgatory enough, walk the annals of hell long enough to feel comfortable there, to not lose yourself there, to not give up there, and to move forward anyway? That's some serious power. It's becoming comfortable with the dark side. It's becoming comfortable with the dark sides of you. It's becoming comfortable with the other side of life, the other side of the coin. It's like once you've made friends with the darkness, nothing can faze you, right? Because ultimately, again, you're only facing your own emotions. Is it really as bad as we tell ourselves it is, right? Can it be more neutral? Can it be a non-issue? Maybe no more attachment to needing to be a certain way or feel a certain way or even look a certain way. So now you can walk through no problem, no matter what the situation or experience is. So card pile 3, when we're talking about the path before you, the opportunity before you is graduation. It's stepping into a greater level of personal power. It's really owning even a higher path or your higher self. Not that there's ever any hierarchy, but there is a sort of ascension here from an old karmic cycle or from an old cycle in this life or pattern where you tended to default based on fear and find yourself sort of lost, overwhelmed, confronted with your demons, where you would ultimately self-destruct. And now you're choosing differently. You're going to be able to choose whatever this choice is. You're going to be able to choose the power one, the one that's from a place of personal power, the one where you know you're supported no matter what you do. You have the energy to back it up. You've made friends with the devil, and ain't nothing going to stop you. All right, card pile 3. I do want to hear from you, especially this pile. This is a big deal. I want to celebrate your graduation. I want to know what choice you're making. I want to know what that leap is for you in particular. If there is a particular decision or choice that you're making this second, this moment. I was moving my leg. And so do share, like, subscribe, press the bell icon. That way you receive notifications. I am enrolling right now for the Professional Spiritual Mentor Certification. You can check out those details below or visit erritygreen.com/theacademy. And with that, I bid you farewell. Card pile 3. Take care. All right, so card pile 4, the journey or path before you, rather the path or the opportunity before you. Let's go ahead and dive in. Perhaps the journey was relevant. Maybe that term was relevant because I just soaked in sort of your energy before beginning. So basically, I feel like you've been through a period of like tending to, like self-honoring, self-tending to. It just feels very nurturing. It feels warm. It feels caretaking. It feels like you've been maybe even, I still have a little bit of a cough, so we'll see if one comes up, but it could be that experience, excuse me, of tending to old wounds, right? Has a little bit of the energy of, licking your wounds, just taking good, sweet care of yourself. It feels simple. It feels easy. It feels like someone getting up and getting themselves tea in the morning and taking a breath of fresh air out on the porch. It feels like someone who is taking it easy, and it feels like the energy of retreat and sabbatical. So if you haven't already done this or aren't coming out of this, then your opportunity would be to experience this. We haven't hardly gotten at all into the reading, so this is a bit premature and we'll see. But it could also be that, you're coming out of this time. But for many of you or most of you, I feel like it's more, there's an opportunity here, a path before you of simpler living, of easier going living, of an easier lifestyle, of having that space just for getting up, for doing nothing, not looking at your phone, but just making yourself some tea, or maybe it's coffee or whatever your drink of choice is, and then having that out on the porch. It feels very close to nature. It feels very easygoing. Perhaps you can feel that energy in my voice. It feels much different than, say, the hustle, bustle, electronically laden era of today. That feels buzzed and wired and that's what that feels like. That's not it. So perhaps if you are living that other version, perhaps there's an opportunity here or the path before you of something that's more ease, more simplicity, something closer to nature, to yourself. Not a lot of buzz, not a lot of noise, not a lot of static in the air, not a lot of voices and stimulation and all that stuff. It just feels simple. It feels like so restful and good for the soul and good for your nervous system. It's like for some of you, your nervous systems have been shot for probably not actually shot, but like shot, like they've burnt out. They've been wired for too long. And it's like all it needs is just soothing, caretaking, ease, warmth, and tenderness. Time outside, time to just tend to yourself, to the natural world, to nature, to animals, to your garden. Just feels so natural, close to the earth, easygoing, and simple. I feel like this is relevant for you all, more than likely, perhaps because you haven't done it. Excuse me. If I need to take a break, I will. But it just feels like such beautiful, nurturing earth mother kind of energy. If you're not giving yourself this now, this is the opportunity, the path before you. Of course, there's more here. Let's see what else we have here. Yeah. So perhaps more space has opened up in your life recently. And sometimes when space opens up in our life, it comes through what we would consider to be a negative experience. So sometimes we lose a job, sometimes we lose a loved one. It doesn't always have to be that way. Sometimes we lose a promotion, we're demoted, whatever that is. So it can come in the form of what feels like a curse or a punishment, but in truth, it creates space because it gives us the chance to really just live our lives and be ourselves and live an easier lifestyle and really take care of ourselves and take care of our nervous systems and let them reacclimate and realign to the natural world and let ourselves align and connect with the natural world and ground ourselves again. So I feel like, some people maybe have been through a loss. It doesn't mean you've had to have, but, let's just say a loved one passed away or a job or demotion or something. That obviously frees up space because maybe we were caretaking for them, taking up a lot of our time, our energy, our attention, whether it be job, family member, loved one, whatever. This isn't going to be the case for everyone, but sometimes space opens up in your life or something happens or something changes, something shifts. And the message here is that's divinely guided, so you can find this. So it's not death, but like rest and peace, but so that you can rest in peace. Like, not dead, but what I'm saying, like if that wasn't, if RIP, if RIP or rest in peace wasn't something that we used already as a culture, at least in the Western culture, for people who have passed on, it's something we put on their gravestone. Imagine if that was something we could just do in our everyday lives, rest and peace. Like we can't just sit on the porch. We can't just make our tea. We can't just sit here and do nothing. We can just sit. We can just walk. That's it. What if we could just do that? So there is something to that energy. There is an invitation here. We could even say portal, but something here where space is available for you to rest, to find peace, to find ease. And there's so much of this energy here that it's hard for me to contact why this message, we'll get to other parts of this message, are coming to you, because it doesn't feel like I'm just getting this. I'm not getting past energy or any of that stuff. So I'm not necessarily being told that you're not in this, but because it's such a prevalent energy, I'm going to, and it's here, excuse me, I'm going to imagine that this isn't something you have sort of taken up the universe on. Like it keeps opening these doors, perhaps, or these opportunities or invitations. Perhaps you take them as problems or concerns or whatever. Perhaps you don't yet know how to let yourself relax, or you haven't learned how to support yourself into that R&R or that rest or that peace, but you are being given that opportunity here. And if you aren't in that place to be able to receive it, then that's the work to do here, the healing work to be able to get you there so that you can rest in peace, but alive and well and breathing. And it's divinely guided. So whatever's being offered here, the time, the space, the freedom is a yes. That's what you want to be moving toward. More of that, please. That's what you're supposed to be expanding into. More of that lifestyle than say anything that's more hustle, bustle, rah, wiring, all that. No. Okay. Excuse me. I'm going to take a break here with my coughing. Just a moment. All right. So that the path or the opportunity before you is there is an element or an essence of maturity here, of elderhood even. Perhaps some of the examples that I gave you remind you of elderhood, where it's like no stimulation, outside drinking tea. Some people are like, what? Still struggling here. I'm on my fourth pile, and so my cough is acting up. Excuse me. But there is something here too, the life's journey, the life's development, where you have found yourself in a place of choosing peace, choosing serenity, choosing harmony, choosing contentment over the bells and whistles, frills and lace, hustle and bustle, the noise, the chaos, the stimulation, all that stuff. It's like you've gone through a development or seasons of life or whatever that have led you here. The human development, the development of a human often leads us here. Development of the spirit, the soul on planet Earth often leads us here. This is just a part of your growth. And ultimately, you're finding yourself in a place that's much closer to nature, much more yearning or seeking of peace or in need of that. And that's what's coming through for you right now. But it does feel like you've turned the wheel over a little bit. It does have that energy of it's a shift in, it could be because of age, it could be because of maturity, where it's like, you don't need all that other stuff. It's more about this. And this is what you're moving into. And this is maybe even what you want, but it's just creating some space in your life to where you're able to sort of sit back or lean back or step back, where it's not having to always be in it, doing the things, jumping in, diving in, taking the leap. It's like creating space in your life to just be there, creating space in your life to just be, creating space in your life to exist, to just exist. The more you can, it feels like this feels so rich for you, and it feels so nurturing for you and fulfilling for you and so peaceful and content for you. I really feel like this is kind of the energy you want to bring more of into your life. And this is where you're being called to. And again, if something has happened in your life in the recent past, or in the maybe not so recent past, it was trying to bring you here. I feel like with this card pile, I'm either coughing from all my talking, or I'm yawning because this energy is like putting me to sleep, which is great. I love this energy. It feels so good. I love this energy. But it is putting me to sleep. So I feel like you're moving through this. This is a time to be restful. It's a time to be patient. It's a time to take it easy. It's a time to lean back. It's a time to withdraw. It's a time to let life be a little simpler. Now, some of you, I can already hear it. You're saying, because I can hear myself saying it, different parts of me, but usually when my own inner critic and stuff comes up, it's telling me what you guys would say. And some of you are like, oh yeah, I would love that. But guess what? I have a full-time job or 17 children or whatever, and all these responsibilities and blah, blah, blah. And hey, all that stuff is true. I can't undo that for you. And I know myself because I'm doing it. I'm right here in the thick of it with you. Middle-aged or whatever, and doing all the things and the child stuff and the family stuff. I get it. And it's saying, creating the space for this and like daily traditions or routines that can allow for this, and utilizing and savoring the times that come up. So if you do get these opportunities, but you're overlooking them, or you're getting on the phone, or you're sending an email, or you're running to the store again, or blah, 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 you've now overlooked that opportunity that you had to experience this, right? So whether it's you're scheduling it on the front end proactively, ensuring you have containers or space or time or routines in your day that allow for this easygoing kind of living, for greater contentment, for just being here and living life, and that's it. Whether you're doing it that way, or whether you're enjoying and savoring the time or the opportunities, the experiences that come up, that's up to you. You can do both. But most people either aren't scheduling it, or it's not a routine. So it's not a regular practice that they are doing. Their practice is go, 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 hustle, 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 do, 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 strive, achieve, whatever, accomplish the next thing, check off the task, this list too, da, 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 honey-do list. If not that, then now, then when, and if I'm not doing any of that, I'm on TikTok. Okay, well, then we're like, well, we don't have time for this. Well, we can make the time, we can create those routines, or we can just savor the moments that do come up. How simple is it to just let the flow of life come to us, show up, present the opportunity to savor, to sit back, to rest, and to be in peace, and just enjoy what's there. Now, some of you too, I can already hear you, are saying, well, yeah, but even when I do try, everything comes up. Okay, then do something maybe that's relatively active. If you're just sitting there on the porch, and that's not, that's an example, right? But you don't have to do that. It's one of many examples, but let's just say that kind of thing does come up for you. Well, then do something that's a little bit more active, walk around the porch, or check out the trees, or maybe there's a child in your life, or that you might go explore with, or maybe there's someone you just have a chit chat with, right? It doesn't mean that everything has to be just so and in a box and perfect and look this just one way. It's a matter of cultivating this energy. So wherever you experience this energy is right where you want to be. It's not like it has to look a certain way. It's that whatever this feeling is, and wherever you can find that feeling, that's what you're going to cultivate in your life. Your path, the path before you, or the current opportunity for you, is to experience more of this, more rest, more relaxation, more peace, more contentment, more satisfaction, more just being, just doing nothing, just breathing, right? Being here now, more of that. I feel like you are, there's more spaciousness available here for you now if you're willing to accept it. allowing things to unfold. Some of this is control based. Some of you are unwilling to let go of control. And so it's control that's driving the, okay. And so if you let go of that, all of your demons come up, rah, because it doesn't want to be in control or not be in control. Because if I'm not in control, I'm going to drop a ball. And if I drop a ball, it's catastrophe. And it's catastrophe, it's cataclysm. And cataclysm leads to annihilation and everyone dies. It's like, well, and of course that's what our minds do. So this is, some of you, it's control, and you don't know how to not have your hands in the pot. So some of you are being asked to face your inner demon of control, to look it in the eye, to get to know it. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it feel like in your body? How does it show up in your life? What kind of choices do you make or not based on control? How is it showing up in your relationships? How is it showing up in your relationship with yourself? How is it showing up in your words, thoughts, and actions? How is it showing up in your choices? So you can start to get to know it more intimately. Because ironically, the more we get to know our fears, the more we get to know our demons, the more we get to know our psyche, the less power or control it has over ourselves. So it's less about like, oh, now I need to know control so I can push that away too, and now control my own control and control and repress my own control and then just do more of the same. It's like, no, it's like the more I get to know it, the less power or influence or control it's going to have over me, over my life, over my relationships, over my experiences. Just a matter of getting to know it. And so when it comes up, oh, getting to know it, not getting caught up in the mind reel of whatever story you're telling yourself about it. I have to get it done. And if I don't get it done, and this, and if I don't do all that stuff, no. And then it's not, oh, well, Errity told me not to, and to do the reading, and I'm not supposed to be controlling. What am I doing? And oh my God, not that either, right? It's more like, oh, that's control. I remember her talking about that. That feels like control. So I won't let myself like sit down or whatever, because I'm telling myself I need to do this, I need to do that. Okay, how does that feel? Okay, it feels like really intense in my belly, and it feels like it's throttling my neck, maybe that's what it feels like for you. And then it's, what is it telling me? Okay, it's telling me I need to do this. It's telling me to do that. It's telling me if I don't do this, and if I don't do that, then something really bad is going to happen. Well, what is that really bad thing that happened? Well, what does this remind me of? Well, it reminds me of when I was a kid, and if I didn't have everything just so, I might get kicked, or I might get hit, or I might get yelled at, or I might get hit by surprise. Okay. So it's like just getting to know control, you're going to get to know it, the feeling sensation in your body, how it shows up for you, what it looks like, how it plays out, how it shows up. And then you're going to get to know some of its roots. And sometimes we don't even know the roots, but every time it shows up, your shadow work, so to speak, is less about like trying to do away with it or undo it or fix it or make it better or heal it or whatever we tell ourselves. It's just getting to know it more and more and more, getting to know the ins of it, the outs of it, the upside down of it, this side of the coin, that side of the coin, just getting to know it, being curious about it, asking it questions, seeing where it's at in your body, seeing how it shows up. Oh, how does it show up here? And how does it show up there? And why does it show up here? Right? It's just getting curious, allowing and experiencing it, and just getting to know it like you would a neighbor, a friend, a dog. What does it really like to do? What is its preference? How does it have fun? How does it not have fun? What does it tell me? What does it tell itself? Right? Just like we would get to know ourselves or anyone. So that's your work card pile 4. There's a lot here, and I feel like we're at time. So let me just finish up with your final part of your message. This is on the path before you. So I feel like some of you are still healing or reeling from a loss of some kind. There's still some grief. Creating this space for you is going to do one of two or both things. It's going to help you contact that grief so that this can be cleared. And not that we again have to go fixing and healing things. We're not going at the grief like, fix it, heal it, be gone, like grow, flower grow, pot of water, boil, pot of water, boil. No, because usually it doesn't happen like that, right? We have to create the conditions. So your conditions in your life, the spaciousness, this openness, the availability to, if you're finding you're running from it, yes, we saw control, but we're also seeing grief here. So some of you had some losses, could point to some of the losses we opened with today in our reading, where you might actually be able to contact that and really gutturally feel it and allow it to have its day in court, so to speak, where it's allowed to have its say, it's allowed to grieve, to cry, to wail, to scream. whatever it needs to do, because it deserves that too. You deserve that too. And when we're piling on all these things on ourselves all the time, we don't have the space to really able to contact that. So I feel like some healing becomes available for you. And I feel like in this spaciousness, you really contact more deeply than ever before what it is that you truly want, what it is that you truly value, what it is that truly makes you tick, what it is that makes you come alive, what your true North Star is. And you just start being able to capture that in your own heart. And that becomes your everything, right? Once you have that clarity within yourself of what it is you truly want and what it is you truly deeply value the most, and you're able to live that, that's all this is, right? Fulfillment or meaning or the whole point of this human life. You're able to contact that through this spaciousness, through this ordinariness, because that's what it is, the extraordinary ordinariness, because you're just ordinarily living your everyday life, but you're creating this spaciousness. What is that going to do? It's going to allow you to contact what it is that you truly want, what it is that you truly value, live a quality life and have a quality of life, some well-being. It's also going to create the space for a lot of this old grief and stuff to clear, because it's going to get you to a space of being actually able to feel what's there. So a lot of all your moving and going about in control, your control very much could have been rooted in avoiding what you never wanted to feel. So if I just control everything and micromanage everything and try to do everything, if control comes in as my protector, then I never actually have to face my anguish or my agony, right? See, yes, this is ultimately a healing that wants to happen here. Like there is a compassion here, grandmotherly, motherly kind of energy, Mother Earth holding you too. So when you go out on that porch or out in nature, out in the garden, or some of those examples we brought up, remember that Mother Earth, Mother Nature, however you sort of personify or understand or perceive that energy, it is there and it's holding you too. There's a healing in that too. There's a healing in contacting that energy and being held by life, by that spaciousness, by nature as well. There is more here. I could share more, but I am going to end your reading here. Card pile 4, if this lands, resonates, press the like and subscribe buttons. Do press the bell icon. That way you receive notifications. I am enrolling now for the Professional Spiritual Mentorship or Professional Spiritual Mentor Certification. You can check out that link below or visit erritygreen.com/theacademy. And I will see you next time. Thank you, Card pile 4.